Who is here to learn something about Amadeus? Raise your hands, put something in the chat, put up a signal so we know you're here. Okay, I see a few reactions. Great. Let me ask you a second question. Who of you loves to use tools to create great sound and acoustics? Show me a little less, a little less. Okay, but I see a few reactions. I see a few reactions. Nice. Good to meet you. Good to see you. Great. From Valencia. Yeah, please let me know, where are you from? We set the time of this webinar at 6 p.m. Central European time so we can cover the US as much as possible. Arizona, great. And you're here for fajitas, great, also good. Sounds good, sounds good. South America, from Colombia, great. That is amazing, good to have you. And Budapest, it's about time to go into your evening, but we love to have you. Great to have you. Welcome to the webinar on Amadeus Art. This is going to be mainly about the art platform, the platform we released at the beginning of this year. And we are still reiterating what this is about. Amadeus is about creating complex systems for performance venues mainly. And we need to explain that. We need to talk about that to get you all on board. And at this point, I really would like to say thank you for showing up. Thank you for being part of this community. Thank you for being interested and giving us also the feedback that what we are up to here with Amadeus is about something meaningful and about something that creates value. And we're here to share that. So what's in it for you guys? Today, I already teasered a little bit. We are, first of all, going to have a news flash, our new format that we always do, simply to talk about what has been going on in the last few months and weeks. Then we are going to talk about the Amadeus Art platform, and we're going to have a preview on the Art IP software module for more immersive performance applications. We're going to explain what that means. And what I'm most excited about is 2 interviews with our US distribution partner, Phil and Jean from Avilax, and with our newest design and tuning partner, Steve Haas, also based in the US. And at the end, as usual, questions and answers. But for those of you who were missing one person that is usually here, don't worry, he is coming right now. Please welcome to the stage, Torsten. How are you?
Yeah, I'm not sure if everybody is awaiting. But thank you for being
I am
here.
sure.
It's always a pleasure. It's always a pleasure to see you and how many persons are really interested in what we are doing and interested in acoustics as we are. And I hope you will enjoy what we have prepared for you today. So I think we could start with our news flash.
Yes, of course. So what have we been doing in the last few weeks and months? Torsten and I were in China, in Guangzhou, at the ProLight and Sound show, which is one of the biggest actually in China. And we do have a distribution partner who actually, they created the biggest sign we ever had. That was the first thing Torsten mentioned, like, wow.
This was the biggest booth we ever had, and the ProLight and Sound in Guangzhou is really worth to see. It's really a lot of music, a lot of shows, and very noisy, and it was a great show for us and to introduce ourselves into the Chinese market, which was really a pleasure.
Sorry about that. And not only that, we made good friends over there. The CEO of our distribution partner, a really great guy, and we were super happy to get to know him and the whole team. Then, what did we do else? Our first presence in the US at Infocom.
Same thing. You see, our booth is a little bit smaller, but nevertheless, we met so many people and new friends. Steve, Haas, and the guys from Avilex, Gene and Phil visited us, and they have their own booth there also. And we had a great time in Orlando this year, I should say.
Yeah, was very good to hang out. And as promised, you gonna see the guys later in this webinar for a little interviews. So stay tuned for that. And also at Infocom, we did again a demo cooperation with our friends from Renkes Heinz at their demo booth. And again, they already did that a few times, but it is always very impressive and very, I always love the idea, because their idea is basically to create different acoustic and sound environments in that they showcase their speakers and the quality of their speakers. For example, they created an airport atmosphere, meaning very long reverberation time live using the Amadeus Active Acoustics technology. And secondly, a soundscape using sounds that we produced and used with the Amadeus immersive technology to create an overall and feeling as if you're there at an airport. And then they showcased their speakers. Very good and nice show. And then we didn't only do marketing things. As some of you maybe know, one of our slogans is "We transform spaces," which basically is about being able to create different acoustic qualities at the push of a button, or use the space not only as a frontal amplification, but also as a three-dimensional sound environment, basically. And what spaces did we transform in the last few months? This is a multi-purpose hall in Sweden. Kalmar is the place. It is one of those very typical multi-purpose spaces where all kinds of events can happen, including next to rock pop shows, theaters, readings, musical shows, including orchestra performances. And this is why they installed an Amadeus Active Acoustic System with together with Martin audio speakers. You can see the speakers here, for example, in a line surrounding the space. And on the ceilings here, using in-ceiling speakers, and the microphones hung suspended from the ceiling here. This was just a month ago. I think it was tuned and commissioned a month ago, for example. Then, Torsten, you can tell us more about that one.
This one is just running. It's not ready yet, but it's in Darmstadt. It's a city in Germany. It's an old theater. And interesting about this is it's a replacement in this case. They already used an old VRES system. That is the name of that, virtual room acoustic system. It's an old one from the 19th. And yes, it was very old, and now they replaced it. And we could use some of the loudspeakers which are already installed inside there. And yes, some new loudspeakers were installed. And what's completely new is our voice lift system on the stage. This is used for, yes, to improve the speech intelligibility of the actors on stage. And this is an ongoing project in the moment, and we are really happy to work on this. It doesn't look like it, but it's a very old place. But this is now a construction site. And yes, I think in the next weeks, they will open again. And then we will hear how they could improve with our system, how they can improve with our system, speech lift, and of course, the change of reverberation time inside there.
Yes, great. And one more thing I really wanted to mention, this is not a high quality photo simply because I was there a few days ago attending one of the shows, taking this photo with my phone. This is the Vienna Summer of Opera. It is a new festival in Vienna, in the middle of the city, literally in the middle of the city. That building you see here is the famous Konzerthaus of Vienna, the concert hall in Vienna. And right next to it is a big square where they set up in an opera festival, basically. And who do they use Amadeus in this setting, actually? First of all, the orchestra is placed in that box or that room. So it is, first of all, secured from any rain, safe from any rain, etc. And then it's recorded using microphones, and there is a number of loudspeakers here. There's a main hang, left, center, right, and then there's 4 more fill speakers, and in the front 6 more fill speakers to create, and we call it sometimes immersive front. So what they do is, the sound engineers do, is to project the orchestra across this speaker system so that it creates a spreaded experience, not only putting an orchestra into 1 speaker or 2 speakers, but spreading it across a number of speakers, and that creates a very wide experience and wide impression of the orchestra, and creates separation, basically, especially for the singers who can sing quieter but are still clearly understood. And additionally, what you can see here on this photo, but there's poles around the audience, first of all, to hang delay lines. So there is sound reinforcement for the last rows as well. But then there's a second speaker per hang to create space, to create a room, create some reverberation. This is running currently. We don't have great marketing photos yet, but this was taken by myself, just having been there a few days ago. Okay, I think that's it from the news flash, and let's get into our main topic of today. And I'm gonna introduce to you the Amadeus Art platform. But first of all, a little reminder, Amadeus is about 3 solutions. We are talking about active acoustics, or sometimes called acoustic enhancement. This is about controlling room acoustic conditions in a performance venue. Then secondly, there is immersive audio systems. Immersive audio is about placing sound in 3 dimensions: left, right, front, and back, and top, X, Y, Z. So it is about simply making use of the 3rd dimension that we have, but never really used so far. We can work and use it in theaters, but also immersive experiences. And then there is voice lift, like Torsten explained, or touch base on, where it's about, you don't need a microphone or want to use a microphone right on the body or on the head of performance, but still need some amplification. And especially this has an application in lecture halls and conference rooms, but what we focus so far on is theaters and operas, where there is sometimes this situation where you have just too little sound from the stage, and the voice lift system can help here. And these are the main solutions we have going on, but at the core, so to say, the values we work under is flexibility and collaboration. This is at our core. What makes us different is that our solutions adapt to your architecture to create impactful audio experiences. So any Amadeus system, we work on making it part of the building, part of the infrastructure, so it becomes a seamless tool to create perfect acoustics or perfect sound for anything that happens within a venue. Then we can work with any loudspeaker or amplifier brands, also microphone brands. So we call this brand agnostic. We focus on the tools. We focus on the active acoustic, the immersive sound, the voice lift solutions and tools. We are not about selling loudspeakers. We are simply about being flexible to create the perfect and optimal solution for any space within timeframes, within architectural requirements. And of course, we are more flexible when it comes to budgets to find the right solutions for the budgets. And part of any installation is personalized support from concept to completion. This is very important to us. We collaborate with people on site. We collaborate with consultants, designers, anybody who has a stake in the project. And then the tool sets that we are going to talk about and that we developed is the art platform, Amadeus Art. And art is not the tool itself, it is the platform. So it is the name for the platform, which consists of hardware pieces, software pieces, services, and even, if necessary, and if somebody wants content creation, we have a big pool of sound designers and content creators that we know, and we can always provide content creation as well. But mainly in installations, we talk about hardware pieces, software pieces, and services. And that's what we are going to talk about. So what does Amadeus Art actually consist of? First of all, we all love hardware, and that's what we're going to talk about. We have 3 different pieces of hardware. In the back, across my left shoulder, you can see there's the 3 pieces in real, so to say, you can see them, but I'm going to present it here. There is the Art Hub, and we have 2 versions of that. The Art Hub 2, which is a 2-rack unit server, ready for art acoustics performance and immersive performance modules. We are going to get into that a little bit later, what that specifically means. But basically, you can imagine this is the machine, the renderer for the most performative applications. Simply, this machine can do the most things, or it can do all the things that we can provide. It has up to 64 inputs on the active acoustic side and 64 inputs on the immersive audio side. Yes, that means those modules can work in parallel. Active acoustics and immersive audio in parallel on one machine, and up to 128 outputs. As mentioned already, it is ready for the performance module with all functionalities on both immersive and active acoustic sides. Sampling rates per standard 848, but we are working on the 96 kilohertz version, and in some cases we can already do that. So please feel free to ask about that. And one thing that I always like to mention is that it is server-grade hardware. It is not just a computer we bought at the next computer store, and this is proven by this measure. This measure is mean time before failure, which is higher than 50,000 hours, which is approximately 5 years. So if the machine runs in constant usage, 5 years is typically. It takes 5 years until the first failure comes up. So really server-grade hardware. Redundant power supply, Dante I/O, very important. This is the standard version, but optional, we can use MADI. Good. This is the Art Hub 2. Then there's the Art Hub 1, which is basically the little sister of the Art Hub 2, ready for the acoustics and immersive compact modules. I'm going to explain a little bit later what that specifically means, but you can already see that the inputs, 16 on the active acoustics and immersive side, again, can work in parallel, loudspeakers up to 32, and ready for the compact modules. Same server-grade hardware, same quality, however, non-redundant power supply, but also Dante I/O, optionally MADI. Good. So those are the 2 rack mount units we use for installations, for the compact installations, the smaller ones, or the performance installations, the more advanced ones. And then we have one more hardware piece, which is the Art Box. Basically, this is the immersive tool to go. You can put it in your bag, jump on the plane, jump on the train, whatever you use, and do your immersive show. That is the idea. It is ready for the immersive modules only, not active acoustics, only immersive, but compact or performance, up to 64 inputs, not simultaneously active acoustics and immersive now, but up to 128 outputs, performance or compact modules, 48 kilohertz, 69 coming up, and non-redundant power supply, but also Dante I/O. Okay, so I hope you got an overview, just to prove that those are not just renderings from some computer module. Just last week, we got a new batch here. We are currently preparing, and it is almost sold already. So we did place another order with our supplier already. Okay, this is the hardware side of life of art. And now we jump to the software side. We think in modules. So the art platform consists of different modules. And the art acoustics system can consist of acoustic performance modules or compact modules. And in a nutshell, the performance modules has more functionality, the most advanced algorithms, and allows for more output channels and input channels, versus the compact module is kind of a streamlined version. Only the most essential functionalities are available there. For example, a rehearsal room in a music school doesn't necessarily need the same functionality like a 2,000 people theater. So that's why we started to make a differentiation here. And for example, what you can see, the presets, acoustic presets we can create with the performance modules, limitless, unlimited, with the compact modules, free predefined presets, which allows us also to bring down the commissioning and service time. So on the performance side, there's simply free versions with different numbers of outputs to account for the size of the project. Same thing on the immersive sides. We have performance and compact modules. The performance modules, again, have the most advanced functionality. And I'd like to emphasize that usually on the panning algorithms, there's wavefield panning and amplitude panning. The wavefield panning is the most advanced wavefield synthesis-like algorithms, including time as an element of the panning, versus amplitude only. And on the compact side, we provide amplitude panning only, which is for smaller spaces, simpler applications, maybe museum-like applications, often far enough. But in a theater or a bigger space, we need the performance modules and the wavefield panning. Again, 3 different versions, 40, 72, and 128 outputs on the performance side and 32 outputs on the compact side. Then just to give you a quick overview of our current state of software, this is the most simple user interface that people get, the venues get this. This is basically a web interface which you recall through a browser, or you can also send control data through media control systems and recall acoustic presets. So you can do this on a tablet or even a phone or on a computer, or use media control systems to recall presets and have very basic monitoring functionalities here. Then there's the advanced tuning interface where you start tuning. You need to be a certified design and tuning partner for that. However, this is what it looks like, more or less. Obviously, there's much more controls on the inputs and outputs, but basically this is what you use to create acoustic presets or tune the system in general. Also, this is a web interface, so you can recall it from any computer running a browser. Then we have the 3D Pan. It is a VST plugin, which you can use in a digital audio workstation or also show control software, simply to place objects, audio objects in 3D space. You can see a representation of the loudspeaker system on the plugin here, and then you can move the object around to place it in 3D space, and you can have also an overview of where are the other objects actually, so you can have an orientation. You can choose different algorithms here. You can increase the size or shape of a object, and you can also control the height meaning the set coordinate with the plugin. This plugin, again, runs in any digital audio workstation or show control software, being able hosting VST and AAX formats. And then one thing I like to point out is that we also have the virtual speaker functionality. Basically, this means that even though we have an object-based system now, we can go back to the channel-based thinking simply because sometimes we have content that is channel-based. This might be a 5.1, 7.1, or 9.1.4 content, which you have a old DVD or whatever, and you simply want to play back a 7.1 content. We can place virtual speakers that are static. They cannot move around afterwards after configuration, but they are static, meaning, for example, in this example, front left, channel 55. If you put something into channel 55, you're gonna hear it front left, and so on, front right, etc. And with that virtual speakers, you can also create a Dolby Atmos decoder, so to say, simply by decoding before the ARC platform and then playing it back through virtual speakers. Okay, and then we do have integrations and control possibilities with third parties. Obviously, we are not alone in this world. We need to interface with different tools. And for example, one third-party integration is a QSys plugin. I'm going to show a picture of that later. A QLab integration. Grapes is a very nice tool you're going to see in a minute. But in general, you can control the Amadeus art system using OSC commands, open sound control, meaning that any device or software that can create open sound control messages can control the art platform. That might be a media control system like AMX, Crestron, QSys, Extron, whatever is out there. That might be mixing desks that can create OSC commands. That might be a tracking system, etc. And just so you see it, there's a QSys plugin available in the QSys Asset Manager, meaning that you can use the QSys platform natively to control Amadeus. There's also a QLab integration with Amadeus. You can see here, like if you hit an automation, an object runs through a predefined path. We call this trajectories. So this QLab is typical show control software. There is integrations with mixing desks already. This is a stage tech integration at the Theater Navin with Opera House in Vienna. We are discussing with Digico, for example, to integrate the art platform. And there is a very nice tool called Grapes 3D, which can also create trajectories automatically. And then you can have an object move around those trajectories. And you can use this sort of as a sequencer where you control objects automatically. Amadeus is natively integrated with this tool set. And then to finalize the overview of the art platform, sometimes this might be overwhelming. Okay, there's 3 hardware pieces, there's 8 different modules. Where should I begin? That's why we created a little matrix for you where you get an overview of the performance, if the performance package, so to say, the compact package and the art freedom package, which I'm going to explain in a moment. The performance package has, and this is now a repetition simply of what I said before, it can give you up to 128 outputs, 64 inputs on the immersive side, 64 inputs on the acoustic side. The modules are IP for immersive performance modules or AP for acoustics performance, and also the service packages we deliver here are of performance grade, so to say. So you basically meaning you get the best of the best from our teams. And then there's the compact package where you get up to 32 outputs, 16 inputs on the immersive side, 16 on the acoustic side, the IC immersive compact module or the AC acoustics compact module, and the compact services, which basically means as quick as possible, not to create too many too much cost. However, always with the Amadeus quality seal, so to say. So don't worry about that. But we also deliver for that the RTOP 1 instead of the RTOP 2. I forgot to mention that before in the performance package. And then there's the Freedom package, which basically consists of the immersive modules up to 128 outputs and 64 inputs, and the art box. And the idea here is basically, we don't ask what you do with it, and we hope it's going to be morally okay, but we don't ask, you're good to go after a little training and getting to know the tools to be able to create immersive experiences or shows, etc. Good. That was it from my side about the art platform. But before we move on to the interviews, we wanted to give you a preview of the art IP module, of the upgrades that we are currently working on. You already see a few teasers, but we thought before just showing you a few pictures, we give you a live demonstration of our current alpha release that Caspar has running in the background or on his machine. And I'm gonna hand over to Caspar.
Yes.
Are you here? Yes, you are.
Yes, I am. Thank you, Fabio.
Welcome and take it off.
Yes. Hey, everyone. Nice that so many have interest in our products, and I'm super happy to give you a little sneak peek of our new version of the Art Director. So let me share my screen real quick. I hope you can see my screen. Maybe Fabio, can you tell me real quick if it's visible? All right, awesome. I heard him from the other room. Okay. Yeah, so this is basically the art director, which will be the most central dashboard for everyone that uses one of our products in the future. So it's going to come with the new V2 with the complete art infrastructure or ecosystem. And it's in an alpha state right now, so please forgive us if there might happen some bugs or maybe the system crashes. It's still in under development, and also not all of the features are here yet. So the idea is what you can see now is the input, the output, and the 3D controls of the Art Hub. But in the future, there's going to be many more tabs visible here. And then in the future, you will also control active acoustics, voice lift, etc. in this central dashboard, the Art Director. So I would say let's just go through the tabs and just have a look what's happening here. So you can see the input channel strip here. This is where all of the audio is fed into the system, and you got your basic channel strips for all of the inputs, and we can also open these up and route them in here. So just select the hardware input in here, or maybe EQ the input signal with a very sleek looking EQ. In the same design, we have our dynamics, a expander and compressor combined in one channel, and your standard polar flip solo mute button. Yes, and you can do this on every channel, obviously. And what you can also do is you can link channels. So you can choose which properties you want to link, and then you just drag across the linked channels, and afterwards you're good to go to link the EQs, for instance, of 4 channels, but also the dynamics of these channels. So you can also create multiple links that are completely separated from each other. And also, if you want to do more like routing tasks with a couple of channels and you don't want to go click through all the channels in singular, you can just click here and drag over the channels to apply all of the routing changes at once. So there's lots of quality of life improvements already, and you can find the same look on the output. with just one difference here. You can change also the feeds of the immersive path, the active acoustics path, and the voice lift path on each loudspeaker. So all the output channel strips, they will feed into the loudspeakers. Okay, so I would say let's look at the most interesting part of the new dashboard, which is the venue or the spatial audio tab, basically. And what you can see here is a 3D representation of our office, the Amadeus Hub. And you can see I already created some sources here. 1, 2, 3. This one is in stereo, and I can move it around the room with these pans like on these planes. So I'm either restricted to one of these planes or I'm restricted to one axis if I touch this axis. So you can already create some nice static scenes inside of the art director, but you can also just feed in OSC signals from outside, from any other third-party application that Fabio just mentioned. And you can also just feed in a venue model in a 3D GLB file or DXF file. And what you can also do is you can use snapshots. So you can either create snapshots for the sources. So maybe you have a file with all of the coordinates of the sources. Then you just load it in here and all of the sources are already implemented. Or you even have the complete file of the venue, so also with loudspeakers in there. This will make your life much easier. I mean, you can control the positionings of loudspeakers inside of the application, but it's obviously much easier if you have just a list of all the speakers, especially if there's like 40 or 60 speakers in this venue. And then when all of the speakers are implemented, you can start configuring them. You can choose what type it is, a point source, subwoofer, what the size of the speaker is, and you can also assign them to a spatial system, which is, in my opinion, the most innovative function coming with V2 now, which basically classifies speakers and tells them what they are. So it could either be a, a main speaker or a fill speaker, or maybe it's a delay line speaker that needs to behave very differently when you pan sources around the room. Or maybe it's a speaker that is on a balcony in the second floor in the ceiling. So this one also has to behave very differently, especially if there are sources panned on top of the venue. And these will be completely predefined. So there will be a spatial system for all different applications, and they are predefined. So you just assign them to your speakers, and basically the idea is you're completely free to design your venue on your own. You don't need lots of help from us, or actually no help from us. So you can completely design this on your own, even if there's major changes, or if you wanna, for instance, go with your art box to a completely different venue and start a completely different project there. You're good to go on your own without any help from us. Right, that's basically all that I can show you for now, but I'm already very excited for the next session when there will be more to show to you, and I give it back to you, Fabio.
Congratulations, Casper, no crash.
Well, I think this is normal. Normally, we have no crash, I should say.
No
Yeah.
crash at this stage.
They happen sometimes.
But let me ask you a serious
Okay.
question. Like, what's your feeling already? Like the look and feel when you start using it. You're one of the persons who used it the most. Till
Yeah, I mean
now.
it's a complete it's definitely next level because we came from a how should I say it, like we came from a very limited tool set in immersive audio to a extremely sophisticated tool set where we really have all the modern how should I say, like the modern toolkits that you need today in immersive. So it's a huge step in my opinion, and also the look and feel is great. It looks very modern, very sleek. I like it a lot.
Nice, great. Thanks for that. Thanks for the overview and preview of the Art IP module. And
Very
now
welcome.
we are going to
Time is
yeah
running.
time is running. We next part is the interviews. Before we start, guys, you can simply ask questions in the chat. Feel free to put it in the chat. We might be able to answer it right away or later. Torsten, who are we interviewing actually again?
Well, we are looking for the guys from Avlex.
Yes.
I learned it's Avlex, not Avlex. Hello, Phil, and hello, Gene.
Hello,
I
Torsten.
think we can
Hello.
put them at the spotlight also. Hi.
Hello.
Hello. I think most of the audience knows who you are, where you are, but maybe you could briefly introduce yourself and share a bit about your background in the pro audio and mainly maybe in the integration scene in the US. Phil, what do you think?
Will I go first because I'm British?
I think so.
Yes, I shall go first. My name is Phil Van Peeborg. I co-own Avlex with Gene. I've been involved with audio since I can't remember. I spent 10 years in the UK doing live production and integration, moved to the US and got involved on the sales side, and I've been selling audio equipment for 26 years. So I have put things in, I have pulled cable, I have sworn at things, and I have made things work. Gene?
Excellent. Much like Phil, I swear at things. No, wait. Also been in the audio industry for quite some time. Did the retail thing early on in my career. Of course, moved on to repping, where Phil and I originally met. Well, I guess at that time I was a sales manager for a company, then moved on to a rep where Phil was my boss. And now we continue to work together many years later. And yes, we've done many things together: speakers, amplifiers, microphones. We do them all.
Obviously, you're a musician. No? Are you sitting in some guitars?
Yes, yeah. Over my shoulder there, it's my most recent Strat, special edition, purple with gold metallic pickguard. And then I think if I move my head, we've got that 93 Strat over there that technically doesn't exist. It was built the year of the Fender had the fire in their manufacturing facilities in the States, and it's actually quite a few. It's a pretty interesting instrument, but
yeah, looks like
I
it.
will leave it there. Thank you.
You should hear it with the Amadeus system next time.
And a good guitar player, which is not myself.
Hopefully. So Phil, from your perspective at Avlex, how is the US market currently responding to active acoustics and immersive audio technologies? You see, are there specific verticals or regions where you are seeing a momentum for this technology in the moment?
It's interesting. The active acoustics and immersive. I remember doing demos with Maya Constellation 10 years ago, and thinking this is fantastic. Oh my word! Look at the price tag. And it feels at the moment that a lot of people are very interested, but are being put off by the complexity and everything has to come from one manufacturer. And are they really certain that that's who they want to work with and to get through to what they want to put forward in their venue? What's really interesting is it will begin to trickle down because technology always does. So we're seeing a number of venues coming up that are putting in immersive systems when they're doing a rebuild. We've seen a number of venues looking at putting in active acoustics when they're doing a rebuild. So there's lots of interest out there. We're just waiting for it all to trickle down to actual installations. And I think that'll happen as the price comes down and as flexibility goes up.
Yeah. And Gene, what do you think? Do you see a growing awareness or demand in the US for more flexible software-driven audio solutions, especially among integrators or consultants? Are they aware of acoustics actually?
Yes, no, absolutely. And you know, much like Phil, I've watched and seen this evolution moving forward where it was, you know, $1 million installs only could have this sort of technology or even have these sorts of discussions. And then for us, for the first time with Amadeus, we're looking at, you know, smaller theater spaces where this is a real possibility, right? And you know, I see it going to a point where it's going from, oh, this is nice to have, to, well, of course we need to have this. You know, the voice lift technology, the, you know, managing a small theater, whether there's 10 people in it or 200 people in it, right? Being able to have this flexibility in technology. We're having more and more conversations on more and more different room sizes. It's pretty exciting time, I think.
Cool, cool. And that made you confident to partner with us as our exclusive US distributor, you know, as well, maybe in a competition to all the other brands you mentioned before. So yes, what's your vision for how this partnership will grow in the next 1 to 2 years? Are there any upcoming projects or events we should keep an eye on in US? Some ideas.
I think upcoming projects, there are some, we can't talk about them, as is typically the way. Vision, we are really pushing and looking forward to driving the entry level to these tools down in the market. So I think there needs to be a paradigm shift in the US amongst contractors and consultants. Instead of saying, yes, active acoustics would be great, but I can't afford it. Immersive would be great, but I don't have the space. We are looking forward to moving that conversation to, oh, we can make it work in this space. We can make it work for this budget. This is something we can do. That opportunity has not been available in the US until Amadeus has come along. The fact that Amadeus is agnostic to microphones and loudspeakers makes the entry barrier significantly lower. We have had conversations with school districts about active acoustic systems, which I think a year ago would never have happened, because the moment they looked at the price tag, they would say, that's nice, but no. Now we're looking at it and going, actually, that sort of makes sense. Let's have a conversation. It'll take time for that paradigm to shift, but it will shift. We are trying to make it shift, and we're doing everything we can to build off that.
Wow. Yes. Good closing words, I should say. So this is actually what we could say to the new ones in the market, what they can take away actually from this interview. So thank you very much. I'm really happy to have you as a new partner in US. We learned a lot about this well, how should I say, for us, new market. And we are really looking forward working in this field, and hope we can come together in the next years, in the next weeks and months.
Very much.
Looking at the time, I should say we can change to the more practical part. We have another guest here, Steve. I should say we can come in touch on the Infocom in Orlando first time, and I think we are now something like new friends in the immersive market. And maybe you could introduce yourself briefly to those who do not know you from now. Steve is our design and tuning partner, because he's very experienced in immersive installations. And maybe you can introduce yourself a little to our audience.
Absolutely, Torsten. I'm Steve Haas. I am the CEO and principal consultant of a firm called SH Acoustics. I've been an acoustic and audio consultant, designer, calibrator for about 35 years now. The first 14, I worked with Chris Jaffe Holden, Jaffe Acoustics. And Chris, if you didn't know him, he was one of the pioneers of acoustic enhancement, active acoustics, at least in North America, designing and installing some of the first systems here in the US and in Mexico City. And so along my way of working as part of his firm, I really cut my teeth in the understanding of the both immersive as well as active acoustics. And then when I started my own firm in 2003, I was already working not just in the performing arts spaces and certainly the museum spaces, which I do to this day, but also had fallen into the crazy world of high-end residential
Mhm.
and realized that the money people would spend just to watch movies in their home theaters, home cinemas, could easily be adapted to live music enhancement. And these are people who were, showcasing Elton John for $1 million a night for their daughter's bat mitzvah and so on and so forth. Or maybe they were
Yeah.
CEOs by day and closet guitarists by night, and they just wanted the ultimate jam spaces. So it's this diversity between commercial and residential that
Mhm.
really led me to actually have my own offering with a comparable technology that I licensed for quite a long time under the guise Concertino. But along the way, after about 15 years, let's just say I lost access to that technology. The provider went a different direction. So I've been searching for the longest time now for a replacement that A, sounded good, B, was agnostic, as Phil and
Mhm.
Gene certainly brought up to, a key point is the agnostic nature of speakers, amplifiers, and microphones, and also just run by great people like Fabio Torsten and the rest of the gang who are consultants or designers like I am, and I can really relate to them very
Mhm.
much.
Yeah, and I really appreciate you connected us at the Infocom to some very interesting designers from in the museum, for
Mhm.
museums and exhibitions. And this was really exciting to see that they are also interested in immersive, and I don't know if they are interested in acoustics, but in immersive actually, no?
Oh, yeah, active acoustics is definitely a part of certain museums. The Exploratorium in San Francisco, I believe, has a
Mhm.
constellation system in there. And we have looked at different options for some of our high-end museums. But at the time, I didn't have the right solution that I wanted to present at the right price point, too. Again,
Mhm.
as Gene and Phil really
Yeah, yeah.
correctly pointed out, the
Uh,
price points are the key, and you all have just done a great job of putting together packages that make
Hopefully,
more
yeah,
sense than some
hopefully.
other offerings out there.
So thank you very much, Steve, for your support. And for those who don't know, Steve is really a good musician also. So
Uh,
actually everybody in the
yeah,
company is able to play an instrument more or
yeah.
less.
I'm channeling I am active in performing. I'm channeling my best Ray Manzarek in the Doors tribute band here in the Connecticut, New York City area. So give a
Cool.
quick plug out to that.
So don't forget to visit
Yeah,
him, everybody. Thank you very much, Steve. Thank you very much.
sure.
I'm looking at the time. We said we need an hour, and I think we could now change to the
Yes.
Q&A session. I saw that Fabio
There's
already
just
answered.
there's just a few questions. I think it was mainly about a venue to demo at in US. Stay tuned for that. It still needs a little more time. We do have two projects coming up, one on the east, one on the west coast, and we'll be giving you a shout out when they are commissioned and opened, so we can do demos and demos, yeah, basically demonstrations there.
Yeah.
So please stay tuned for that. But of course, Vienna is a nice place, so feel free to fly out. And we actually have 5 venues in walking distance from our headquarters. So it's really worth it to come by. And maybe that's a good point to promote our consultant seminar that is coming up. Yeah, here we go. That is a very good point. Sorry for taking the Q&A session for another info. Okay. Yes, you can see this. Great. So what we do is consultant seminars, which are basically introductory seminars where you get to know very deeply on what is active acoustics about, what is immersive sound about, and how do we as Amadeus Acoustics approach that. Our next edition in September is already full. It's actually overbooked, but that's why we put up another one on the 1st and 2nd of December this year. Again, Vienna is a nice place, especially in winter time and Christmas time. So make sure you can make it to Vienna. There, it will happen in our headquarters, which is the showroom. At the same time, we will visit the Theater Wien, which is an opera house, and the University of Music. They have an auditorium. There is an immersive experience also in walking distance. And we're going to have a tour through the famous Vienna Musikverein, the best acoustics in the world, they say. We're gonna have a tour through that, and optionally we always have to see what kind of concerts there are happening at this time. Optionally, we can provide info for that. There's a QR codes to sign up, or simply drop us an email if you want more info on that.
Yeah, I think we are exactly in time.
Yes. Sorry, there was one more question about training process. So just quickly, when it comes to immersive sound, it's easier. We are currently developing some online resources so you can have trainings here, and you need to be trained on speaker tuning, and then you're good to go. For the active acoustics, that's a longer process. We are doing hands-on workshops, but then you're just started. We need to do projects together until we are really confident that somebody can go on their own to tune active acoustic systems. So get in touch if you're interested to find out more about that. But the best starting point is a consultant seminar in general.
Yeah.
Ah, very nice. There will be somebody close living in Kalmar going by. Of course, that's the best way to get to know an Amadeus system when there's a show and nobody from Amadeus presenting it. So good choice. And yeah, some of you have been in US already.
Oh.
Not yet. We don't have a consultant seminar planned in the US yet, but this will happen in conjunction with our first projects. So stay tuned.
Yes, and maybe in conjunction with our new partners. No?
Sure, of course.
Obviously. So we are ready to come to US. So we are happy to be there.
Anytime.
Cool.
Okay, guys. Thanks a lot. Thanks for staying. All of you stayed till the end. It's 1 hour exactly. I think that's fine for now. Then I think we can also only say good day for some of you, good night for some of you, and Prost for Torsten and myself. We're gonna open a beer probably now. And Kasper,
yeah, we can download it. I have to download it.
Sure. Okay.
Thank you very much, Steve.
Thanks,
you very much,
everybody.
Phil and Jean. Bye-bye.
See you. Bye.
See you.